I took notes as I was doing this movie, especially the day when I wrote like 14 minutes of music, I think it was, at the end. You know, every movie you learn new things. And these things that I learned. Harmony is too obvious. Harmony is too much sometimes when you are scoring a very subtle scene where you need to, you know, change from this mood to this mood, where harmony is too much. And so timbre instead is what makes the trick. Sometimes just one note that you're going from like open string kind of thing, or like regular to sul tasto, sul ponticello, right, to something that's more brighter to softer, or brighter to darker kind of thing. Timbre is more effective because it can be more subtle. Composed with the right dialogue. Oh, this is music, dialogue, and this is temp. Sometimes you'll start composing, for whatever reason dialogue is down here, and then all your music, because this is a reference volume of the dialogue, is gonna sound low in volume, because that's the reference where the entire soundtrack is gonna sit at. It's all about managing emotions. What you're writing in the first act of the movie has to be, you have to manage the level of intensity of that first act. We still haven't gone through the struggles of the second act, having revealed the big climax of the third act. And so the music has to flow with the story as the story reveals and develops towards the most important moment of the reveal of the story. Reuse and adapt if it makes sense. It actually helps the story. Like, imagine when you've got a project like this and you're writing this cue right in the middle, let's say, and you're like, you know what, I know that this cue is going to work, right? And you just copy this and move this entire cue here. Boom. This will save a ton of time. 80% of the music is very simple music, but it still takes time to program the right volume, the right curve, right balance between the different instruments, the right timing, like an open arp sound. So what do I have? I've got two arps, one to the left, one to the right. One of them is regular arp note, the other's sur la table, and one is to the left, the other one is inverted the panning to the right, and then you get this clang, super open arp sound. That takes time. Arp center, arp left, arp right. That more. And when you combine the two together, you got this big open arp note, like a regular arp. This would sound like center. Sounds good. But these two. Sweet. And I use this as the theme as well. So these things, right? And it's just a note. Structure. That's the name of the game. You can hit a few things here and there. That's easy. But if it's a longer scene, what do you do musically? Usually, you don't have time or the space to do in a movie like the ABA or AABA. If the director needs for you to have like a motive or a melody that's memorable, it's a good skill to have. So the structure is important, but don't obsess about it. Sometimes you've got to hit things and sometimes you don't. The most important thing, you need a template that mixes for you. Literally, I haven't mixed my music.
Wait.
Everything is well balanced, so the music is in balance with the dialogue. There's a little bit of mixing, you know, and in my stems here, see the panning and a little bit of plugins here. And then there's a little bit of mastering, kind of like at the final stems level. Export each track as soon as you're done. Don't be lazy. Don't be like me. With this template that I have now, where everything is loaded in Cubase, not be a Pro, generally you'll open it next day and no problem. But maybe you forgot a key switch, or you forgot to set the expression, which sets the volume. If you forgot about those things, maybe it'll trigger staccatos instead of legatos. And sometimes you won't even realize those things happen because it's an instrument that's in the background. And so you're gonna export something that you weren't meant to. And so finish the cue, export the cue. So this day that I wrote 14 minutes of music, I did that. Also, we had like a 4-hour class with Chris Young, and then I had like an extra 3 hours of momentum calls, and that's totally doable. Don't think that for you to be able to write a lot of music you have to obsess that day just composing day. Being able to actually write good music for like 15 hours, what I did was from like 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. so that's 6 hours of composing, and then I did another one from 3 to 6. You can split it, and when you're back, you are more efficient. Find the moments when you are most productive. Don't need to score the entire scene. Yeah, sometimes once the music starts, you don't need music from beginning to the end, like the spotting in and out. Silence is music as well, because it makes the coming back of the music more effective. Mandatory that your template delivers a good sound. We talked about this. Don't start with first cue because you still haven't tested things, right? You still haven't developed the motives. I like to start in like the second or towards the middle of the second act, and then do from the second act, third act till the end, and then go back at the beginning. And that's when you're gonna write that fast music. First, because you've got everything that you need. You've already done everything. And then second, you'll know that you don't have to go that big. You are limiting yourself because you know the max, you know what the climax has been in the movie. Now you're gonna limit resources, musically speaking, orchestration. You're gonna move faster. Those initial cues are very important because they are the opening and you want them to be very coherent with everything. Let me see if I can show you kind of like the first cue. So it starts like this.
Whoa.
Nora?
I feel dizzy. Like,
Reveal the entire motif. It's not even a theme, it's a motif. The first act, I'll reveal the first two notes and the third, and then for the second act we've got the third note, and then it resolves with the kind of like the resolving note at the end. Then we've got a solo cello, that's the timbre for that motif throughout the movie that we start distorting and processing as the movie progresses, and then resolves to clean note as the movie. So there's a concept. This is a teaser. This happens again later on, and it's that moment we've got very similar music that we literally copied and adapted here. Now, starting a movie like this big, it was a choice. It was a bold approach. The director approved it. But if I would have started with this, maybe I would have wrote something very different. And that is because I did the entire end of the movie first, and I came back here. So basically, I'll start the template with everything deactivated. See that there are some tracks that are not active. And as I'm progressing through the movie, I'll start activating more and more tracks. Now I'm gonna hide the ones that are not active. Boom. This is how the template has grown from 0 to the last cue. 140 tracks. It's a computer that can handle something like this. Everything is loaded internally. As I'm finishing the movie, there's a lot of information here, plus there are a lot of tracks. So Control S, saving 1, that's a lot of time. 2, 3, 4, 5, not good. 6, and we are done. That is not convenient, but at the same time also saves me a lot of time having everything here so I can copy and paste things around. To decrease the saving time, what I would have to do is delete some of the cues maybe. If I'm working in this specific cue where I'm using just 3 tracks, then disable all the other tracks, so that would make my template more efficient. Sometimes I compose in bunches, so M1, 2, 3, cool. M4 I did it separate, M5, 6, 9. This is actually 6, 7, 8. This was the M27 to M38. A lot of cues here. Well, they are close together. It's part of the same act. Sometimes it's coherent. It makes sense. So what I'll do is sometimes I'll hit export and it'll export the video, for example, for the director to watch what I've done. And then what I will do is I'll come back here, I'll bring the cues, the video chunk that I've exported. So when I wrote those 14 minutes of music, it's actually 25 minutes of video footage. So I'll bring it here and I'll cut. And I'll write the name of the scene. So M28, Keep Up, and M29, anything for attention. No More Lies. And then I'll export this, and this is what I'll export director. And director just needs to watch, see, 1636. That's what I wrote this day. Then what I'll do is I'll upload this to Trello. Like, hey, for YouTube review, they'll come here, then they'll there's this video that I exported, and hit play, and they can watch the entire thing. They didn't have that many rewrites except for this one. Well, what I'm learning is like if you're using an instrument a lot, like the ARP, and then you take the ARP and you just do the typical arpeggiated notes, dun dun dun, dun tin tin, like a love cue with the strings and ARP type of thing. Sometimes they will connect the sound of the ARP to the other cues, the director. It's like, no, soften it, like it's too dark. There was like major chords with ARP arpeggio, it's not dark. And I guess they've associated the timbre of the instrument to another part of the movie and they don't want it here. But maybe just replacing the ARP with the piano will help. It's the same music, but replacing the ARP with the piano and they're gonna be like, no, now it works. So careful with that. That's something that I've learned. And then the next step, once everything is approved, is I'm going to have to create the Pro Tools session, like cue conform. Pro Tools session with the video, and then each one of the cues with the 7 files, the master and the 6 stems. Some cues that will overlap, and so you're gonna have 14 tracks, those which overlap. No need to do that, but it's kind of like a standard, so then the DAP mixing engineer, knows that everything is in place. Hey, you watched the video till the end, congratulations! Alright, so just comment with the I'm a composer hashtag so I know that you've watched the video till the end. And also please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Click the subscribe button. This does 3 things. First, YouTube is gonna show our videos in your homepage. They are gonna be there when you need them. Second, helps our channel grow, makes us happy to see that number increase. And 3, most importantly, it lets the algorithm know that what we are doing matter, and YouTube is gonna put our videos in front of composers like you that want to grow and learn. We're gonna continue to post free videos to add value, but please help us reach more people. Alright, thanks for watching, thanks for your time, congrats again for watching the video till the end. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.